Even though Joe Biden fucked up the Afghanistan withdrawal, CNN and fake news still trying to blame it on Donald Trump.
All week long, former President Donald Trump and his team have been spiking the football on President Biden's chaotic exit from Afghanistan.
Well, if Donald Trump spiked the football, Joe Biden fumbled the damn football.
The likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Just like it's highly unlikely that your ass will get anything right. You've been getting shit wrong for the last 50 years.
The idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens.
Nigga, because you said it was not going to happen. Next!
How does chaos go from highly unlikely to inevitable in just 6 weeks?
And Joe Biden said it was never going to fucking happen.
And frankly, sir, what does that say about the competence of the president and all of you on his national security team?
It means all the motherfuckers should get impeached. Next! Donald Trump trusted the Taliban, but he didn't trust the Taliban.
And we'll be very much hoping that they will be doing what they say they're going to be doing. They will be killing terrorists.
Donald Trump don't care who killed terrorists. As long as you kill terrorists, you are a friend of him and us.
It's worth reminding everybody just who moved the ball to the goal line.
And also remind them who can score a touchdown whenever the fuck they want.
If we wanted to fight a war in Afghanistan and win it, I could win that war in a week. I just don't want to kill 10 million people. Does that make sense to you? I don't want to kill 10 million people.
But the option is still on the table.
I have plans on Afghanistan that if I wanted to win that war, Afghanistan would be wiped off the face of the earth. It would be gone. It would be over literally in 10 days. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to go that route.
And that is not a threat. That is a promise. Donald Trump don't make threats. He do promises. Because Donald Trump tells that to all the countries. We will blow that motherfucker up.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. Thank you.
And have a good night. Next! Joe Biden words don't scare people like Donald Trump's.
We have made it clear to the Taliban, if they attack our personnel or disrupt our operation, the U.S. presence will be swift and the response will be swift and forceful.
Wow, I bet that really scared the shit out of the terrorists. Next! Terrorists is not scared of words that is uttered by Joe Biden. They scared of words that are uttered by Donald Trump.
Again, it's something that we could do. We could go one of two ways. We could do a number the likes of which they've never seen before and win it very quickly. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because you're talking about millions of people, and I don't want to do that.
He keeps saying he don't want to do that, but damn it, he will. Next!
We will defend our people with devastating force if necessary.
Devastating force? What the fuck is that? That can be left up to interpretation. Donald Trump don't leave shit up to interpretation.
Again, if we wanted to be soldiers, it would be over in 10 days. 1 week to 10 days if we wanted to.
And damn it, you don't want us to. Well, at least back then, but right now, I don't know. But back then, you believe me, you didn't want us to. Donald Trump would have blew your whole fucking planet off the map. Next! Because Donald Trump don't make threats. Donald Trump make promises.
We do not seek conflict. But if anyone dares to strike our land, we will respond with the full measure of American power and the iron will of the American spirit.
And if you don't want to become a spirit, you better not fuck with Donald Trump. Or your ass will be a damn spirit with Allah.
But I have not chosen that. Why would we kill millions of people? It wouldn't be fair. In terms of humanity, it wouldn't be fair.
But if they would have done something to the U.S., it wouldn't have been fair, but it would have been a reality.
And we've hit the Taliban harder in the last 4 days than they've been hit in over 10 years. So that's the way it is.
And if for any reason they come back to our country, we will go wherever they are and use power the likes of which the United States has never used before.
And that's the way it goes. When have Joe Biden ever launched an attack on anybody? Donald Trump launched an attack on Syria while having chocolate cake with President of North Korea.
We had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen, and President Xi was enjoying it. So what happens, as I said, we've just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq.
Well, you headed to Syria?
Yes, heading toward Syria.
Bombs over chocolate cake. Next! Donald Trump don't make threats. Donald Trump make promises.
And I'm not even talking about nuclear power. They will never have seen anything like what will happen to them.
So they're dead as far as I'm concerned.
And I don't think the Taliban is willing to take that ride.
We will defend our people with devastating force if necessary.
I don't feel that same sense of security under Joe Biden.
No enemy on earth can match the overwhelming strength, skill, and might of the American armed forces.
A force that Joe Biden is not taking advantage of. Joe Biden, what in the hell is you going to do with the United States military in Afghanistan?
For security reasons, I'm not going to go into the detail of what these plans entail.
Security reasons, what about intelligence reasons? Security reasons, what about intelligent reasons? Because your ass ain't intelligent enough to remember the damn plans.
The last point I'll make is this. Look,
what the hell is Joe Biden trying to say?
Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay?
I probably might just have to, because every move Joe Biden is making right now is benefiting China, in Russia, in Pakistan.
let me get back to the fundamental point I made at the outset. When the decision was made by me and it was made some time ago, and I ran 4 presidents saying I wanted to get us out of Afghanistan.
Joe Biden is an idiot. Joe Biden just forgot what the fuck he was trying to say in mid-sentence and just made some shit up. Joe Biden can never remember shit.
One of the things that
And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
is people now say
Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay?
to me and to others, and many of you say it on air, that why did we have to...
That's a question you should ask China.
The first part of your question was, I can't remember now.
Ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer.
That why did we have to move because no Americans are being attacked? Why did we withdraw those? Why did we agree to withdraw 2,500 troops? No Americans are being attacked.
And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
As I said before, the reason they weren't being attacked was part of an agreement that Trump had made a year earlier.
Joe Biden will forget everything else, names, dates, numbers, but he won't forget to blame Donald Trump.
We will leave by May 1st, he said, as long as there's no attack on Americans.
Well, why you didn't abort the damn plan like you abort every other thing Donald Trump ever did for the United States that was for the United States and not for China?
Though I'm curious to hear your reaction of this consequential speech by the American president. Didn't run from it.
I made the decision.
He owned it. He owned his decision.
I stand squarely behind my decision.
He owned the fact that, as he put it, the buck stops with him.
The buck stops with me.
I hope you remember that during your impeachment trial, nigga. Next!
I hope he gets to own their deaths, too. I feel like I watched a different speech than the rest of you guys.
Fake news is always watching a different speech than everybody fucking else. Different riots, different homicides, and different realities too. Because fake news reality is different than everybody else's.
It was Trump who laid the foundation for the current U.S. withdrawal. It was Trump who was going to meet with Taliban leaders at Camp David before canceling at the last minute.
And why did he cancel, I wonder?
We had peace talks scheduled a few days ago. I called them off when I learned that they had killed a great American soldier from Puerto Rico.
And you can't do that. You can't do that with me.
He praised them time and again.
They're dead. They're dead. As far as I'm concerned, they're dead. They thought that they had to kill people in order to put themselves in a little better negotiating position.
See what I mean? Fake news is always watching a different reality than the rest of America.
And along the way, Trump Republicans criticized Biden for not moving fast enough.
No Trump Republicans criticized Joe Biden for not moving at all.
I was appalled. There was such a profound, bold-faced lie in that speech. The idea that we planned for every contingency.
We plan for every contingency, but I always promise the American people that I will be straight with you.
I have been personally trying to tell this administration since it took office. I've been trying to tell our government for years that this was coming.
Well, Joe Biden didn't listen to you. He got his own experts to listen to. A fucking team of idiots. But when Joe Biden ain't blaming Donald Trump, he blaming the Afghanistani army.
The Afghan military collapsed sometime without trying to fight.
To see their commander-in-chief call into question the courage of men I fought with.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
To claim that they ran. It's shameful.
We gave them every chance to determine their own future. We could not provide them was the will to fight for that future.
Those who have never fought for the colors they fly should be careful about criticizing those who have.
And those who lie like CNN should be careful on criticizing people like Fox who tell the truth.
Obama did not end the war. Trump did not end the war. Biden is trying to end the war, which, by the way, is something the American people generally support.
Americans support a lot of shit, but it's not what we support, it's how we support it. And not what you do, is how you do it. You done it fucked up. We wanted to end the war, but not like that. You done left them motherfuckers weapons, intelligence, army machine guns, army uniforms, helicopters, you name it, the fucking Taliban got it. We wanted to end the war, but we didn't want to leave them motherfuckers weapons to start another one.
The pictures of Afghans clinging to military planes are not what riles up the Fox audience.
Oh shit, get ready for it because here it comes. Because you know, Afghanistani people is people of color.
It's these images of Afghans loaded onto those planes.
Now you know CNN couldn't have a story about Donald Trump and not add racism in it. Now could they?
We've seen these heart-wrenching images at the Kabul airport of people trying to get there, say nothing of the people who can't get to that airport. You made the commitment to get American troops out, to get American citizens out. Will you make the same commitment to those who assisted in the American war effort over the last 20 years, number one? And then number two, what is your message to America's partners around the world who have criticized not the withdrawal, but the conduct of that withdrawal and made them question America's credibility on the world stage?
And Donald Trump and Fox News was more concerned about Americans not being on them planes.
There is no way to evacuate this many people without pain and loss of heartbreaking images you see on television. It's just a fact. My heart aches for those people you see.
Fuck them. I do what I want to. I'm Joe Biden. I'm a dictator. Next!
We have constantly, how can I say it, increased rational access to the airport where more folk can get there more safely. It's still a dangerous operation, but I don't want to go into the detail of how we're doing it.
What's so fucking detailed about getting Americans out of fucking Afghanistan? You go in Afghanistan, get the Americans, put them on the plane, and get their ass out. What's so hard about that? Next! But fuck them. Tell them to get to the airport how they can.
We sent them plan after plan on how to evacuate these people. Nobody listened to us. They didn't plan for the evacuation of our Afghan wartime allies.
Joe Biden said that's a damn lie. Joe Biden did have a plan. He had a plan that was planned out by his experts.
I took the consensus opinion. The consensus opinion was that, in fact, it would not occur if it occurred until later in the year. So it was my decision.
Based on an opinion of a bunch of fucking idiots. Next! Joe Biden is always fucking up something, then come back and try to have a sensitive, heartwarming speech about how he didn't fuck up.
I just want to follow up on something you said a moment ago. You said that there's no circumstances where American citizens cannot get to the airport. That doesn't really square with the images we're seeing around the airport, with the reporting on the ground from our colleagues who are describing chaos and violence.
And the Taliban is beating the shit out of Americans and Afghanistan people.
They're trying to conduct it now at the 11th hour. The thing that they were most concerned about was the optics of a chaotic evacuation. Well, they got exactly what they were most concerned of by failing to do what was right when we could have done it.
Like me, failing to be a father when I could have done it. And my baby mama got exactly what she was concerned of. A deadbeat baby daddy.
Are you saying unequivocally that any American who wants to get to the airport is getting there and getting past the security barrier and to the planes where they want to go?
I thought the question was, how can they get through to the airport outside the airport?
Your ass is a thought lie. You knew exactly what he was asking. Well, you don't get paid to think. Wait a minute. Yes, you do. And that's why we're in a fucked up situation now. Because you get paid to think.
We had all the people and equipment in place to be able to save these people months ago, and we did nothing.
Even though Joe Biden was warned, we have to do something. Joe Biden did nothing.
And the answer is, to the best of our knowledge, the Taliban checkpoints, they are letting through people showing American passports. Now, that's a different question when they get in the rush and crowd of all the folks just outside the wall near the airport.
And not only did Joe Biden didn't do nothing, he gonna get on national TV and lie about not doing nothing.
I'm appalled that he thinks we only need to take 2,000 people. There's 86,000 people who are currently left behind in Afghanistan alone. We've identified all of them for the government.
Joe Biden don't know who near the airport, by the airport, away from the airport. He don't know shit. He don't even know how many Americans need to be rescued, or he won't tell it.
Deal with the mad rush of non-Americans, those who didn't help, those who were not on the priority list, just any Afghan to be able to get out of the country.
So you mean to tell me that you are doing a better job than the Biden administration? Ain't that a bitch? Next! Joe Biden said it's hard to deal with.
I have no idea why he claims that people don't want to leave Afghanistan. I have a list of 14,000 names right now of people who want to get out of Afghanistan.
And you know how many Afghans that's terrorists that probably have fake fucking victim of circumstances passes? Next! Well, you must got a different list than Joe Biden.
Any American who wants to get home will get home.
And Biden administration.
We will do what is necessary to get Americans who want to leave out of harm's way and get them home.
That's just an excuse. So when they leave the Americans back in Afghanistan, they can say them Americans didn't want to come because they didn't bring their ass to the airport when knowing damn well they couldn't. Next! Ask the Taliban if they can leave.
And the idea that the Afghan military should be blamed for this, do you know how many casualties the Afghan military took in an average year? More than the United States did in 20.
But Joe Biden say them numbers don't matter. The only number that matters is American soldiers.
Who, and I carry this card to me every day, and who, in fact, where we lost 2,448 Americans dead and 20,722 wounded.
Joe Biden, no American soldiers died in 2 years. You ain't learned that fucking number yet. You've been reading that card for the last fucking 2 years and the number ain't changed. Next! You ignorant son of a bitch.
Let's assume the Afghan National Force had continued to fight.
The National Forest, what they was fighting fires inside of the jungle? What the hell the force got to do with the Afghanistani army? Next!
Because let's be abundantly clear. People like me looked these people in the eye and made them a promise.
And Joe Biden looked them in the eye and said, you motherfuckers on your own.
We promised them that in their time of need, we would take care of them. How do you ever expect anyone to ever trust us again if we don't do that now while we can?
We didn't have a problem of people not trusting us when Donald Trump was in office. I think the Taliban, Afghanistan, North Korea, China, Russia, and the rest of the countries can believe exactly what the fuck Donald Trump was talking about he was going to do.
And I'm sick and tired of trying to defer to the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan on what we're going to do. We're the United States of America. They're terrified of us.
Didn't that used to be an American catchphrase? Joe Biden couldn't get a plan right that a crackhead couldn't fuck up.
But given this, given the negotiations with the Taliban, the scenes that we're seeing, can you just fully explain why the plan wasn't to go ahead with these evacuations of both Americans and allies before the drawdowns began, before Bagram was closed, looking back several months? Because whether it was now or several months from now, there seems to be a broad consensus that the Taliban would make these gains and these would be needed at some point.
You would think?
Well, yeah, at some point. But the point was that although we were in contact with the Taliban and Doha for this whole period of time, at some point wasn't expected to be the total demise of the Afghan national force.
This nigga's still talking about a damn forest. Or is he trying to say force?
I have Afghans on the ground right now who are telling me they're going door to door in Kabul and they're making lists of people who used to work with us. They're telling them with smiles on their face, evil smiles, that they're going to be back from them once we leave.
The Taliban don't want to know if you've been naughty or nice. They want to know if your ass been helping America or not.
So we either take them now or these people are going to die.
And Joe Biden will have blood on his hands.
Well, sometimes human rights have to be defended at the barrel end of a gun. The Taliban are a modern version of the Nazis.
They even worse than the ones supposedly raided the Capitol building on the 6th. If them terrorists would have been at the Capitol building, it would have been a different story.
That's the job. My job is to make judgments. My job is to make judgments no one else can or will make. I made them. I'm convinced I'm absolutely correct.
And everybody else is convinced your ass is absolutely wrong.
What is your message to America's partners around the world who have criticized not the withdrawal, but the conduct of that withdrawal and made them question America's credibility on the world stage?
Because I don't think we lost no credibility under Donald Trump, or no respect either. As much as y'all say the United States is back. Back to what? Back to this shit? Joe Biden is a great foreign policy maker, partner, deal dude.
I was at the G7 as well as met with our NATO partners. And I told them all, every one of them knew and agreed with the decision I made.
We did? Nigga will start name dropping because we didn't hear from them world leaders.
John, what is your current estimate for how many al-Qaeda are inside Afghanistan?
I haven't seen an estimate on that. I don't know. We have an exact estimate.
I haven't seen. I don't know if we have an exact estimate. Straight out of the school of Joe Biden and the Biden administration. Next.
Military intelligence estimates about how many al-Qaeda remain in Afghanistan.
We know that Al-Qaeda is a presence, as well as ISIS, in Afghanistan, and we've talked about that for quite some time.
Y'all did? Did y'all talk it over with Joe Biden?
We do not believe it is exorbitantly high, but we don't have an exact figure for you. As I think you might understand, Jen, it's not like they carry identification cards and register somewhere. We don't have a perfect picture.
A perfect picture? Well, nigga, do y'all have a picture at all? A picture on your iPhone would do. Something. Nigga, y'all ain't got no picture. Stop lying.
And our ability, our intelligence gathering ability in Afghanistan isn't what it used to be because we aren't there.
Because you dumb son of a bitches pulled the troops out stupidly and untimely. Next!
Here's another statement that the president made that was flat wrong. Take a look.
I'd be glad when Joe Biden get one of his statements flat right.
But the president just said that there is no al-Qaeda presence in Afghanistan. That does not seem to be correct.
Nor none of the other shit he said seemed to be correct. Like Americans don't want to come home.
What I said was we don't have the degree of dexterity intelligence to be able to give you a head count, a nose count of exactly how many al-Qaeda fighters are in Afghanistan. Nobody's walking away from the fact that they aren't there.
Well, nigga, can you at least give us a count on your hands and fingers? Nigga, give us some kind of count.
Look, let's put this thing in perspective here. What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
Joe Biden's brain is gone from his head more than al-Qaeda is gone from Afghanistan.
But if you and your administration so badly misassessed how quickly the Taliban would sweep through Afghanistan, and we no longer have an embassy there from which to run intelligence operations, how can you at all be confident of your assessment of the risk of terrorism and the ability of the U.S. to conduct over-the-horizon missions to keep it in check?
He can't. Joe Biden is a fucking idiot. Next! Joe Biden don't even know if Al-Qaeda is still in Afghanistan or not.
The president also said there is no national security interest, no national interest in Afghanistan. I'm a little confused by that. Can you explain why there's no national interest in Afghanistan? Why did we have troops there for 20 years if there's no national interest in Afghanistan?
Yeah, when you got ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and Afghanistan in Afghanistan. You know what? Don't even answer that question. Next! Because I know you're going to fucking lie. You and Tony Blinken, the whole damn Biden administration, fucking lie.
But a UN report this summer says that Al-Qaeda is present in 15 of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. And General Milley said this summer that if the Taliban fell, that he was, or rather took over Kabul, that he was going to have to upgrade the terror threat from Al-Qaeda. What the president said just wasn't true.
What have Joe Biden said about Afghanistan that's been fucking true?
We got bin Laden a decade ago.
But Mr. Secretary, the president said Al-Qaeda is gone. Simple question. Is Al-Qaeda gone from Afghanistan?
Could we get a yes or a no? You know what? Never mind. Let the president tell us we safe.
Can you tell Americans that they're safe and will remain safe from terror attacks in Afghanistan?
Hell no. Joe Biden can't even say the first words. Hell no. Joe Biden can't even say the first 5 words of the alphabets. So hell no, he can't tell us we safe.
I think you're comparing apples and oranges.
Or like Hunter Biden, Chris through the crack.
Al-Qaeda's capacity to do what it did on 9/11, to attack us, to attack our partners or allies from Afghanistan, is vastly, vastly diminished.
Nigga, we are not worried about vastly, vastly diminished. Nigga, we worried about is they vastly, vastly gone.
Is it gone?
Are there Al-Qaeda members and remnants in Afghanistan? Yes, but what the president was referring to was its capacity to do what it did on 9/11, and that capacity has been very successfully diminished.
But it's not been very successfully been demolished. They can still come over here and drive a plane straight through the damn Staples Center.
And we're certainly going to maintain as much vigilance as we can, absent a presence on the ground.
Oh, y'all got presence on the ground. All right. I thought the Taliban was y'all presence on the ground, since y'all trust them so damn much.
The other thing I would say, Jen, is our intelligence capability is certainly it's more difficult if you don't have boots on the ground.
What about the Taliban boots on the ground? My bad, the American boots that the Taliban is wearing, because you know the Taliban got all America uniforms, weapons, and equipment.
John, you just said that you don't have intelligence on the ground in Afghanistan anymore. How are you going to have Overwatch and you still have Al-Qaeda in the country?
Jen, that's a damn good question, but I'm not going to answer it. Next! Joe Biden and the Biden administration knew about the Taliban was going to take over Afghanistan in less than 2 weeks. They heard it through the grapevine.
We learned over the last 24 hours that there was a dissent cable from the State Department.
Sure.
Saying that the Taliban would come faster through Afghanistan. Can you say why, after that cable was issued, the U.S. didn't do more to get Americans
got
out?
All kinds of cables.
Well, we're talking about the cable that came fucking true. We're not talking about all them other cables. We talk about the cable that was a fucking reality. Why Tony Blinken didn't take that serious.
On July 13th, 23 staffers at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul sent you a memo saying that the collapse of Afghan forces and the takeover of the Taliban was going much faster than expected, and urging you to speed up the evacuation of our Afghan allies, the drivers, the translators, the people who had stood by us. In the month between then and August 13th, we only evacuated 1,200 Afghan allies.
I saw the prison system transfer more gay men to a women prison in 1 month than the American government transferred Americans to the United States. You mean to tell me the prison system got a better damn transportation system than the damn government system? Ain't that a bitch?
Why didn't you move faster, sir?
First, Chris, the cable you're referring to came through something we call the descent channel, and it's something I take very, very seriously.
Well, if you took it seriously, why you let this shit go down unless you wanted it to?
This is a very important tradition that the State Department has. It's a very patriotic one. I read the cable almost immediately. I responded to the cable almost immediately.
What you tell them? Mind their motherfucking business. We got this. Thank you for the advice.
And we took to heart a number of recommendations that were made in the cable. I can't go into too much detail.
We only evacuated 1,200 Afghans in the next month. That doesn't sound like you took it that seriously.
It sounded like to me that your ass thought this was a game and the Taliban was playing. Well, the Taliban ain't playing. More to come later.
And then a question on the public response. A new poll out today shows Americans wanted to withdraw from Afghanistan, but they disapprove of the way you've handled it.
Because you handled it like a fucking idiot. As a matter of fact, your ass finna speak because 10 Americans just got killed today in a damn suicide bomb at the damn airport, and your ass supposed to be coming up in a damn 15 more minutes on TV and explaining on what the hell happened. I would love to hear this. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that on this skit.
Poll also found that based in part on what's transpired in the last week, a majority of Americans, and forgive me, I'm just the messenger,
so don't try to cancel culture him for telling the truth.
No longer consider you to be competent, focused, or effective in the job.
And I want to hear what you got to say about your job performance when your ass come on in about another 12 or 13 damn minutes. Because now, Joe Biden, you have American blood on your hands. Next!
And then number two, what is your message to America's partners around the world who have criticized not the withdrawal, but the conduct of that withdrawal and made them question America's credibility on the world stage?
Damn, the message he's sending to the leaders all over the world. I want to hear the message he sent to the American families. I want to hear the message that he sent to the soldiers who died over their family. I want to hear what he's got to say to them. You think your poll numbers is going down now?
I haven't seen that poll.
I bet you haven't. Now all of a sudden, Joe Biden ain't got no motherfucking poll watchers. Ain't that a bitch?
It's out there from CBS this morning.
And CBS is a liberal station. You can't say that's conservative news.
What would you say to those Americans who no longer believe that you're up to the job?
Damn that man. I want to hear what he got to say to the American families that lost their kids over there in Afghanistan today. Damn the other people. What he got to say to the family? What you got to say to the family, Joe? As a matter of fact, you got about 10 minutes before your ass supposed to be coming on. Next!
The military has secured the airport, as you mentioned, but will you sign off on sending U.S. troops into Kabul to evacuate Americans who haven't been able to get to the airport safely?
And they damn sure ain't able to get to the airport safely now with suicide bombers wandering around.
We have no indication that they haven't been able to get in Kabul through the airport. We've made an agreement with the Taliban thus far. They've allowed them to go through. It's in their interest for them to go through.
So the Taliban evidently let the suicide bomber go through too. You mean to tell me they checking for papers and not bombs? Ain't that a bitch? They had about 3 or 4 checkpoints to get to that airport entrance. The Taliban let them through.
I have seen no question of our credibility from our allies around the world.
You haven't, but everybody else fucking have.
But Armin Laschet, the likely successor to German Chancellor Merkel, said this is the biggest debacle that NATO has seen since its foundation.
And the biggest strategy fuck up in the United States history that we ever seen.
So we know of no circumstance where American citizens are carrying an American passport are trying to get through to the airport.
Well, we heard of a circumstance that 12 Americans, I just saw it on TV, it was 10 at first, 12 Americans have lost their life in Afghanistan. We want to hear what you got to say about the circumstances surrounding that, Joe. You got about another 5 minutes before your ass is supposed to be coming on. Next!
But yesterday, the U.S. Embassy in Kabul issued this alert. Because of potential security threats outside the gates at the Kabul airport, we are advising U.S. citizens to avoid traveling to the airport unless you receive individual instructions from a U.S. government representative to do so. That alert directly contradicts what President Biden said just hours before on Friday.
I want to see the bullshit contradictory he talk about I want to hear the bullshit contradictory that he say in his bullshit ass press conference that's supposed to be coming up in another 3 minutes. You know it's going to be a lot of contradictory in that. And when I say contradictory, I mean a fucking lie.
My question is that because the situation in getting to the airport, even for Americans, is more dangerous than the president indicated, or is it because of a reported new threat from ISIS?
And that threat is a relevant threat now because somebody just went to the airport with a damn bomb strapped to their damn chest. So hell yeah, ISIS have a new threat. As of today, they're a new threat. What in the hell is Joe Biden going to do with ISIS now? I know what Donald Trump would do. He would blow them motherfuckers out of the Afghanistan.
Mr. Secretary, does the president not know what's going on?
Hell no. Joe Biden don't even know what's going on for lunch. So how in the hell he know what's going on with anything else?
I've spoken with our NATO allies. We've spoken with NATO allies, the Secretary of State. That's why we had to, I guess, was it yesterday or the day before? We went over the wall and brought in, how many? 169 Americans, as has the general, I keep calling him a general, but my Secretary of Defense. So it is a process to try to figure out and so my guess is that no matter what, under what circumstances there's not a whole lot of Afghanis. The first part of your question was, I can't remember now. So that's what's happened.
Need I say more? Next!
Sir, respectfully, look, I'm not questioning whether or not the allies have a right to complain. I'm not questioning whether or not Al-Qaeda has a presence. The president said Al-Qaeda is gone. It's not gone. The president said he's not heard any criticism from the allies. There's been a lot of criticism from the allies. Words matter, and the words of the president matter most.
And especially when they fucking lie, they matter a lot. I wonder is most more than a lot, or a lot is more than most. I know one of them is more than the other one.
We are actually ceding back the country to the very insurgency that we went in to defeat in the first place. And the reputation of the West to support democracies across the world has suffered. Will he now agree to an independent formal inquiry into the conduct in Afghanistan?
So me and Chris Wallace is right and righter.
The fact of the matter is, I have not seen that. Matter of fact, the exact opposite I've got.
Joe Biden, who the fuck do you think we is? Nigga, we watch the news.
Embarrassment, the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to our country. We look like fools all over the world. We're weak. We're pathetic. We're being led by people that have no idea what they're doing. They take the military out and then they say, now we'll bring out the people. And all of a sudden the Taliban walks in. We had the Taliban so under control, they wouldn't have moved without getting our approval.
Well, evidently you need to fire whoever supposed to get you the world fucking news. The UK is not fucking with you, Joe. You hadn't heard from them?
Was our intelligence really so poor? Was our understanding of the Afghan government so weak? Was our knowledge of the position on the ground so inadequate? Or did we really believe this? Or did we just feel that we had to follow the United States?
That was not the United States decision. That was Joe Biden's decision. Don't blame the United States for shit. Remember, Joe said the buck stopped with him. He made the decision, not us. Everybody in America knew that shit was dumb. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that.
The exact opposite thing is we're acting with dispatch. We're committing to what we said we would do.
So part of your plan was getting 12 American soldiers fucking killed. So that was part of your plan and what you say you was going to do. Well, I can't wait till your ass come up in another 5 minutes and hear what your ass got to say what we going to do about what they done.
It's nations that make war. Nations endure. And here we've demonstrated, sadly, that we, the West, the United Kingdom, does not. This doesn't need to be defeat, but at the moment, damn well feels like it.
That's a damn shame. Joe Biden got the whole world, the whole fucking NATO feeling like they lost a fucking war. That's a damn shame. Joe Biden got the whole NATO feeling like they lost a war. Ain't that a bitch? And Joe Biden got our allies thinking we ain't shit.
Last month, my colleague Martha Raddatz interviewed Abdul, an interpreter who was on the front lines with U.S. forces in Afghanistan. Overnight, we received a photo of Taliban militants coming to the door of his home, literally hunting him down. Thankfully, he was able to escape, but he is obviously still in mortal danger. What would be your message to Abdul, his wife, and his 3 young daughters?
Tell him good luck and better luck next time. Next!
On the question of the Taliban, though, do you trust them now that you have to negotiate with them?
I don't trust anybody, including you. I love you, but there's not a lot of people I trust.
Including your crackhead ass son. You shouldn't trust your son as far as you can throw him. And I know your old ass ain't gonna lift up shit. Well, I want to hear about how your ass is gonna coordinate something to do about them 12 soldiers getting killed by Al-Qaeda, Afghanistan, Taliban, the ISIS, somebody.
We've been in constant contact with the Taliban leadership on the ground in Kabul, as well as the Taliban leadership at Daho. And we've been coordinating what we were doing.
Well, did y'all help them coordinate that motherfucking suicide bomber that got to the airport gate and blew some shit up? More to come on the bombing in a couple of more minutes when Joe Biden fucking speak. Because if the Taliban was responsible for the checkpoints, that means the Taliban let the bomb in. And I want to hear what Joe Biden got to say about that. And if he take questions, I wonder is a reporter going to ask him about that? Because Joe is quick to go. Joe is quick to go. Anyway, why in the hell is Joe Biden sounding like the Taliban is a government?
Look, the Taliban has Taliban has to make a fundamental decision.
And what fundamental decision the Taliban got to make, Joe?
Is the Taliban going to attempt to be able to unite and provide for the well-being of the people of Afghanistan, which no one group has ever done since before, dealing for hundreds of years?
So the Taliban is going to be the first government that provide for the Afghanistan people in a couple of 100 years. Ain't that a bitch? Joe Biden is giving the Taliban too much credit.
And if it does, it's going to need everything from additional help in terms of economic assistance, trade, and a whole range of things.
Wait a minute. Who in the hell gonna give the Taliban economic and trade assistance? The United States?
And there's going to be harsh conditions, strong conditions we're going to apply, and it will depend on whether they get help based on whether or not how and well they treat women and girls, how they treat their citizens.
So the United States is going to help the Taliban according to how well they treat their citizens. Ain't that a bitch? What kind of plan is that, Joe?
The Taliban has said we'll see whether they mean it or not.
So you trust the Taliban to take care of the people of Afghanistan. What the hell is you on, Joe?
They're seeking legitimacy. They're seeking legitimacy to determine whether or not they will be recognized by other countries.
And your ass is giving it to them by making them seem like they part of a government of a country.
They have told other countries as well as us they don't want us to move our diplomatic presence completely.
So all of a sudden now the Taliban want to be a motherfucking democracy. Joe Biden, you need to shut your damn mouth before it's too late. Your ass supposed to be coming up already on the news. I'm still waiting. You supposed to be coming up any minute. I'm going to record that and put that shit on here and contradict the shit you done already said.
But all of this is all just talk now. All just talk now.
Yeah, showing the hell is talk. I wonder is your ass going to talk to the press conference and take some damn questions. Your ass is on the clock, Joe. Come on. I want to hear what you got to say about these American lives that done been lost that's on your hands.
So the idea, I think that history is going to record, this was the logical, rational, and right decision to make.
And my Cash App recorded that James Colasino James Colosino, your donation was the logical, rational, and right thing to do. Good looking out. And I'm just waiting on Joe Biden to bring his ass on TV so I can hurry up and edit it and put this part 2 so it'll be out tonight. I'm waiting. His ass supposed to be on 30 minutes ago. The 5 is on right now talking about his ass supposed to be coming up any minute now. They got 12 service members done been killed in a damn suicide bomb attack. I'm waiting, Joe. This shit should be good, James, to come on TV so I can talk about it. And I'm just waiting on Joe Biden to bring his ass on TV, and he can. And I'm just waiting on Joe Biden. I'm out. I'll be right back. Matter of fact, as soon as Joe Biden be out, because you know he ain't gonna talk long, I'll be back. Okay, I am back, but it's hot than a son of a bitch up in here. And I'm trying to see what Joe Biden is about to say about the United States soldiers that was killed. Now I heard the 12 done turned into 13.
By a group known as ISIS-K, took the lives of American service members standing guard at the airport and wounded several others seriously.
And that blood is on your hands, Joe. What do you have to say about that? Is you going to take responsibility? Remember, the buck stops with you. Not only did ISIS kill Americans, but you gave them the weapons to do it.
They have the best equipment, best rockets, the best tanks and helicopters.
Now the ISIS in Afghanistan got a better military than Russia.
The situation on the ground is still evolving, and I'm constantly being updated.
Well, why your ass didn't do when your ass was constantly updated before this shit happened, and this shit wouldn't have happened. But anyway, Joe, can you talk about the American soldiers that was killed?
These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here, were heroes.
You damn right they was heroes, so give them their proper respect.
They're a part of an airlift, an evacuation effort unlike any seen in history.
Wait a minute, Joe. We're talking about the American soldiers that lost their lives. We're not talking about a motherfucking airlift. Is you using this to get a promo about your damn airlifts?
With more than 100,000 American citizens.
Nigga, what in the fuck do that got to do with the American soldiers that lost their lives? We are not talking about American airlifts. We are talking about American soldiers. This is not the day to celebrate no damn airlifts when the people that was providing security for the airlifts lost their life.
American partners, Afghans who helped us, and others taken to safety in the last 11 days.
Joe Biden, fuck your airlifts. Let's talk about the American soldiers that lost their lives. At least you can pay their family that much respect and talk about how we lost some heroes instead of talking about your damn airlifts.
Just in the last 12 hours or so, another 7,000 have gotten out.
Wait a minute, nigga. Did you forget about the American troops? What the hell is you talking about, Joe?
They were part of the bravest, most capable, the most selfless military on the face of the earth.
Nigga, you better not bring up another airlift.
Being the father of a Army major who served for a year in Iraq and before that was in Kosovo.
Oh shit, I should have known. You needed an opportunity to also talk about both and how you connect with the families who lost their kids in Afghanistan. But Joe Biden, can we talk about their family and not yours?
The lives we lost today were lives given in the service of liberty, the service of security, and the service of others.
Okay, nigga, get back on track and don't bring up no damn airlift. You done good for 2 paragraphs straight. But I want to know what you're going to do to the terrorists that killed American soldiers.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this.
Is you fit to send a threat or is you fit to send a promise? Which one is you going to do?
We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Nigga, that did not sound like a promise. That kind of sounded like a bullshit threat. Next! I'm surprised Joe Biden even know who attacked the American soldiers.
That the ISIS-K, an arch enemy the Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened.
So that means the Taliban let the motherfuckers go that attacked America. So that means an enemy of America is a friend of the Taliban. Because if they was really enemies, the Taliban would have just killed their ass inside the prison. I don't think the Taliban got any problem with killing their opponents.
I've also ordered my commanders to develop operational plans to strike ISIS-K assets, leadership, and facilities.
Nigga, you making plans instead of making progress. Ain't that a bitch? It should have already been done.
We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in the moment of our choosing.
What in the fuck is we waiting on? Joe, what in the hell is we waiting on? Donald Trump would have been struck.
You know, when Biden got up and he talked about, we're leaving so fast, we're leaving right away, we have no choice, but we'll come back and we'll get them. We're not going to get anybody. Once you leave, you leave. We're not going to get anybody.
How in the hell you going to find out who in the hell attacked the American soldiers when you don't have intelligence on the ground? No boots on the ground. Remember, Tony Blinken said it, but all of a sudden we're going to find out who killed the American soldiers. Nigga, you fucked up.
And our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated.
Ain't that a bitch? Well, how in the hell is we being dictated a date if we not being intimidated by motherfuckers that we gave weapons to?
He talks like a tough guy, and he's not a tough guy. He's just the opposite, and the world knows it.
Joe Biden is not a tough guy. He's a pussy.
And with regard to finding, tracking down the ISIS leaders who ordered this, we have some reason to believe we know who they are. Not certain.
Now, do you think the families of them American soldiers that was killed had confidence in that? If the families of the American soldiers would have liked Trump or not, they damn sure would have had confidence in him. Because Donald Trump has a track record.
And ISIS-X, as you know, I knocked out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. I knocked it out. In Syria, Iraq, we knocked it out. So now they have a new ISIS called ISIS-X. And that's members of the Taliban that are far more vicious because they don't like the way the Taliban's behaving because they're not vicious enough.
Damn, you have to be some vicious motherfuckers to say the Taliban ain't some vicious motherfuckers.
And we will find ways of our choosing without large military operations.
Ways of our choosing. Well, Joe Biden just chose not to do nothing and let American soldiers get killed. And the reason why the soldiers got killed, because Joe Biden and the Biden administration trusted the Taliban.
The major things we've asked them, moving back the perimeter, giving more space between the wall, stopping vehicles from coming through, etc., searching people coming through.
Well, evidently they didn't search the people coming through for fucking bombs. Evidently, if you have a bomb strapped to your chest, it's better than a victim of circumstances pass.
But there is no evidence thus far that I've been given as a consequence by any of our commanders in the field that there has been collusion between the Taliban and ISIS.
If it wasn't collusion between ISIS and the Taliban, how in the hell did ISIS get through all the Taliban checkpoints?
In carrying out what happened today, both in front of the hotel and what is expected to continue for beyond today.
Wait a minute, nigga. Are you saying it's more Americans about to get killed and it's not going to be the Taliban fault? So it will be more blood on Joe Biden's hands. And not only that, Joe Biden say the Taliban is just as responsible for American lives than America.
Either through means that we provide and or are provided through in cooperation with the Taliban.
So Joe Biden and the Biden administration is in cahoots with the Taliban in protecting Americans. Well, that's how 13 Americans just got killed.
And then when I hear General McKenzie say that the Taliban is going to protect us, the Taliban's the enemy. I dealt with the leader of the Taliban. This is not a very simple man. This is not a Boy Scout.
And Joe Biden is not a genius. So that's a match made in heaven.
To put it another way, this is a tough, hardened person
that's been fighting us for many years, and we're using them now to protect us?
How does that work? That's like my grandmother hiring Bloods to protect her at a damn Crip convention.
So this is Taliban fighters that are much more vicious, and we're using the Taliban and giving lists of Americans to the Taliban. So now you just knock on the door and grab them and take them out.
That's a knock-knock game I'm not trying to play.
They're not good guys, the Taliban. I'm not suggesting that at all.
But why in the hell are they in charge of protecting American lives?
But they have keen interest. As many of you have been reporting, they very much would like to figure out how to keep the airport open. They don't have the capacity to do it.
Well, the Taliban want to keep the airport open. I don't know how they're going to do that when they letting suicide bombers in. I wonder what China got to say about this.
Well, President Obama and Vice President Biden drove Russia and China together, the all-time curse. That's the one thing you didn't want to do. And because of energy and their stupid policies on energy, it drove China and Russia together. Congratulations. That's what they've done.
So it was the Obama and the Biden administration that set Russia and China up on a blind date.
And that was bad. As far as Taiwan is concerned, you never saw bombers flying over Taiwan. You never saw any threat. They didn't even mention Taiwan while I was president.
But they damn sure mention them while Joe Biden is president. They doing more than mentioning them. They're threatening them too.
They very much are trying to figure out whether or not they can maintain what is the portion of an economy that has become not robust, but fundamentally different than it had been.
Joe Biden is still worried about making the Taliban a motherfucking government organization by saying the Taliban of old is not the Taliban of new. Joe Biden haven't said one bad word about the Taliban yet. You and Barack Obama refuse to talk about the Taliban and how they terrorists.
And so there's a lot of reasons why they have reached out, not just to us, but to others, as to why it would be continued in their interest to get more of the personnel we want to get out. We can locate them. Now, there's not many left that we can assess that want to come out.
Hell no, especially when you gave the Taliban a list of motherfuckers that helped us. They can come to the airport if they want. If their ass is on that list, their ass might get shot.
There's some Americans we've identified, we've contacted the vast majority of them, not all of them, who don't want to leave.
So you didn't contact all of them. What is you waiting on them to contact you? Ain't that a bitch?
Because they're dual nationals, they have extended families, etc.
Well, dealing with the Taliban, they ain't got to worry about no extended families. They better worry about some extended clips. They better get them some extra guns.
And there's others who are looking for the time.
The time? The time to what? The time to kill or be killed? Ain't that a bitch? Joe Biden is on here lying like a son of a bitch.
Wait. Let me take the one question from the most interesting guy that I know in the press.
Oh, shit. Are you talking about Peter Doocy? Joe Biden, you might get in trouble for this.
That's you.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
Joe Biden like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for this. This question is not on the teleprompter.
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late.
See what I mean? When Joe Biden is not reading off the teleprompter, he fucking up. He done admitted that it's his fault and the buck stops with him. The blood is on his hands.
But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things.
And you know what he wants you to say, right? He don't want you to blame him. He wants you to blame somebody else. And we know who.
You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban that he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1.
And much as I paid my hitman, he should have got my baby mama out by last year. But Joe Biden, you changed the deadline once to August 31st. Damn it, you could have changed it again to whenever the fuck you wanted to. Can you ask your experts, can you do that?
But you rely on people. Fortunately, whether it's Fauci or them, I don't listen to a lot of people if I think they're bad ideas.
Bad ideas coming from stupid ass people, but we don't know where in the hell Joe Biden get his ideas from because they sure ain't his.
There was no reason to expedite. I could have taken 2 years, 3 years to get them out. We were going to get them out fast, but there was no reason to use the word expedite because we were in no rush. We controlled everything, and they were afraid to move. They wouldn't have moved, Sean. They wouldn't have done a thing without my approval.
Because they was more afraid of Donald Trump than they was of Allah. You think the Taliban is scared of Joe Biden? Scary pussy ass. Joe Biden can't even take the responsibility of saying he have enough nuts to move the deadline to wherever the fuck he want to. He's still blaming Donald Trump.
In return, the commitment was made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces.
And you know why? Because Donald Trump told him personally.
Well, it was a tough call, and it started out by saying that they will be hit harder than any country has ever been hit in the history of the world if they do anything, and in particular kill our soldiers or even try to kill our soldiers.
I bet you the American families of the soldiers that lost their lives would rather have Donald Trump in office right now. But instead, we got Joe Biden, who don't answer questions, but ask questions when you ask a question that he don't want to answer.
Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best of your knowledge? What?
Why in the hell is you trying to ask questions, Joe, and getting frustrated? You not the motherfucking press conference. You the president. You supposed to get asked the questions, not ask the questions. But Donald Trump don't ask questions. Donald Trump tell you what the fuck he wants you to know.
That you got on the phone with the leader of the Taliban and you made it as clear as day. You reminded him about killing Baghdadi and his associates, and you reminded him about killing Soleimani, and you reminded him about the caliphate that you destroyed. You reminded him about killing the al-Qaeda leader in Yemen, and that you said that if they didn't follow, these are their words, every I, every T crossed, every I dotted, every comma and period, that you would obliterate them.
And wouldn't think twice about it. Next!
The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it or has reported it, the reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until I came into office, was because the commitment was made by President Trump. I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any Americans. That was the deal. That's why no American was attacked.
That wasn't a deal. That was Donald Trump showing the Taliban, my nuts are bigger than yours, and you can suck them if you want to. Because the leader of the Taliban would have knew what would have fucking happened if he ever would have crossed Donald Trump.
I mean, you ran through it. I don't have to. If you look at al-Baghdadi, he was the founder of ISIS. We took him out. Nobody could find him for 15 years. Far bigger than Osama bin Laden. Far bigger. Osama bin Laden bad, and he hit, the World Trade Center, and it was a horrible thing. But al-Baghdadi was the founder of ISIS.
And it's ISIS that's trying to kill Americans right now with the ISIS-K, ISIS Part 2. How many Part 2s is Barack Obama and Joe Biden is going to have? ISIS 2, Al-Qaeda 2, Taliban 2. All this is the second part of the movie. And before I go, I want to leave you with Joe, because Joe don't know. And when I say Joe don't know, I'm talking about Joe don't know shit.
And so, as I said before, for security reasons, I'm not going to go into the detail of what these plans entail. This is the last comment I'll make. We'll have more chance to talk about this, unfortunately, beyond, because we're not out yet. And we've done a number of things, again, I don't want to get into detail about. I know it's not fair to ask you questions, it's rhetorical. They love nothing better. Ladies and gentlemen, it was time to end a 20-year war. But raise your hand if you think we should have gone. And I have another meeting for real. Thank you so much.
This country has never
seen stupidity like this, and our country is really in trouble. Our country is really in trouble.
Hold on, everybody.